I'd like to orient my remarks about Brother Sean by using the nice illumination of St. Edmund that's on the cover. St. Edmund's Retreat, besides having a wonderful program of recovery in AA, also has a sacred arts program. And this program has some wonderful talented people. One of them is Jed Gibbons, who did this wonderful illumination. And an illumination, for those who may not be familiar with them, always have symbols. And in this wonderful illumination, there are symbols that I think apply not only to St. Edmund, but to Brother Sean Sammon, Amara's brother. And in that, in the write-up about this, by the way, is in your program near the back. There are a couple things I want to just point out in that illumination. Notice on the path to the monastery in Pontigny, where the Edmundites were founded, there are all kinds of sharp stones on the road leading to it. That was the artist's way of showing that the road to life is oftentimes filled with many things that are very hard for us. And Brother Sean, as part of his consecrated life in the church, spent many years working in the House of Affirmation, working with religious priests, brothers, and sisters in need of recovery from one thing or another. And also in that photograph is sunflowers, which the artist points out always keep turning towards the sun. And Brother Sean's wonderful background in psychology and theology wonderfully combined in a therapeutic role to help turn people back to God, the Son, Jesus Christ. And the final thing, Pontigny, why did Edmund, an English saint, for God's sakes, die in a French country? Well, as the case would be, he made his way from England to Rome, always going through the countryside in France. And on his way, he came to really appreciate the monks, the Cistercian monks, not the Edmundites, the Cistercian monks that used to be in that abbey church. And when we were founded, it was abandoned. But in Edmund's time, it was filled with Cistercian monks who really loved community. And Edmund, when he fell ill and knew he was dying, wanted to be buried there with the community that he loved so well. And Brother Sean is, when we, Chad McEachran and I called him and see if he would be open to coming and receiving the award and being considered for it, one of the first things he talked about was not himself, but his community, the Marist community, and some of the wonderful things that they have done for promoting justice. The final thing I'll allude to in the illumination is above Pontigny, the abbey, are grids of many different colors, which the illuminator talks about being calling to justice. And Jed Gibbons, the illuminator, always uses a scripture passage. And the one that he uses for this illumination is Daniel. And I think it summarizes very well Brother Sean and the Marist community. They are learned. They that are learned shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and those who lead the many to justice shall be like the stars forever. Daniel. Now, Sean has written 10 books, and many of them I've read, and the latest one is on religious life in America. A new day is dawning, and he's a brother filled with hope. His first one was Life After Youth. I'm still dealing with my youth issues. But we're not going to get into my life. I just want to highlight Sean's. Brother Sean exhibits many of the qualities of St. Edmund. He is, as has been said, a scholar, an administrator, a preacher, a teacher, a healer, and certainly a brother. Brother Sean was born in New York City. For you Edmundites who are Boston Red Sox fans, he's not your boy. But he did receive a wonderful education at Marist College, and in 1970 he graduated with a major in psychology and minors in English and theology that have served him well. He received 2 master's degrees, one from New School for Social Research in Psychology in 1973, and another from Fordham University in 1976. I got to know Brother Sean when one of our superior generals, who became a superior general like him, was working at the House of Affirmation. It seems that while bishops get prepared for their job by going and studying canon law or something like that, major superiors of men's communities go through recovery program work. And I guess that prepares us for leadership in the church. But Brother Sean was also, besides knowing him when he worked in Whitensville, he worked with the Conference of Major Superiors of Men when he was the Marist provincial leader here in the United States. And he journeyed from being the head of the Marist here to being the Superior General in Rome. So I think it's very fitting, just as Edmund would go from England to France to Rome, Brother Sean went from the Conference of Major Superiors of Men, where he was our president, no easy task during the years that he served as our president, to Rome to represent the Marist brothers there. But he represented all of us men religious in the United States very well. When he got to Rome and served as Superior General, something that is really striking during the 8 years he was there from 2001 to 2009, it was his work in Geneva and creating a Marist desk that would advocate for the defense of children's rights before the United Nations Human Rights Commission. The Marist mission has a presence in 79 countries, and there are approximately 4,000 Marist brothers working together with 40,000 lay men and women, serving 650,000 young people in Marist institutions and projects each year. And what they do is that tremendous network, that community, goes and translates all of the issues that are coming to bear on children who are exploited throughout the world into words that can be communicated to the United Nations. And Brother Sean was very instrumental in bringing that to happen during his tenure. While he was serving as Superior General, he also answered the challenge that Pope John Paul II issued, that many of us who were in leadership during those same years recall vividly, which is articulated in the wonderful document that came out after the Synod of Bishops, which talks about justice in the world. And that document in 1971 became very much a document that was later used by Pope Paul VI in Evangelium Nunciandi, which talks about if we want to really evangelize people and be effective in doing that, we must immerse ourselves into the issues that those people are facing. That's what Brothers Community is doing. Also, John Paul II, when he would write his wonderful encyclical, Centesimus Annus, in 1991, he talked about in that wonderful document the importance of teaching and spreading the social doctrine of the church, that was certainly an essential element of evangelization. And again, Brother Sean and the Marist community have done that very well. He had to do that task, he had to solicit help from brothers throughout the network of his community. And while 1,130 brothers were already stationed in places like Asia, he sent out a letter inviting volunteers. He got over 200 responses. People willing to give up what they were doing to do what they were being asked to do by leadership. So we honor Brother Sean, but also his community, for responding to the needs of the church and to showing in an unselfish way not only a distinguished mark in the church, but also a passion for living out the gospel and preaching it not from a pulpit, but from everyday actions of caring about the people we serve in our world. So Brother Sean, congratulations.
Just a brief word, and a word of thanks to Richard. As I listened to the description, I said, that's a description my father would have appreciated and my mother would have believed. But a word of thanks to Fathers Tom, Richard, Michael, to Jeff Anderson, the Ebonite community, and the members of the Board of Enders Island for this award, which I accept in the name of my Marist community. I had the incredible good fortune of working for several years alongside two Ebonite priests, Amor Galligan, who had been Superior General, and Joe Hart, who would later be Superior General of the congregation. We served together in the House of Affirmation, as Richard had mentioned, but both taught me many life lessons about work for justice, the true meaning of the gospel, and a deeper appreciation of my own community and its mission to children and young people. Marcelin Champagne was a 27-year-old priest when he founded the Marist Brothers. He had very little at the outset, nothing but an old house, 2 uneducated recruits, and no money. But he had a dream of telling poor young children just how much Jesus Christ loved them. And that dream has grown, as Richard mentioned, to spread to 79 countries and to serve 650,000 young people each year. Children, especially poor children, continue to be exploited, bought and sold, abused and forgotten in many places today. They need all of us to be their voices, their protectors, their advocates. Marcelin was fond of saying that to teach children, you must love them first and love them all equally. His life and the movement that he founded are proof positive that dreams can change our world. Thank you very much.